Now we're moving into another session right now, which is the panel discussion. And leading the panel discussion today, our moderator is Neil Köksal. Okay. I'll tell you a little bit about Neil. Neil Köksal, am I correct? Köksal, okay. She's an award-winning journalist, an anchor at CBC News Toronto, Saturday at 6 p.m. and Sunday at 11 p.m. on CBC television. Neil has built a name in breaking news and skills storytelling since 2001, covering some of the biggest stories in Ontario, including the Toronto turbulent G20 summit and the loss of Jack Layton. She covered some major stories. In 2003, Neil won the Best Breaking Reportage Local Canadian Screen Award, and Neil has also reported in Turkey and Washington, D.C., including the first inaugural Barack Obama, his inauguration. Neil was born in Istanbul, but lived in Canada since the age of 4. She's on the board of the Toronto Public Library New Collection Committee. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we want to welcome Neil to lead the panel discussion, and thank you very much, and thanks for your patience.
Such a nice introduction. Is my mic on? Can you hear me okay? No, not on yet. They're working on it. I've got a lapel mic. It's all good. No. Just like in TV. I can't talk unless I have a lapel mic, even when I'm walking around. No, thank you for the very kind introduction. In addition to being a host at CBC News Toronto, I'm also an immigrant myself. I came here when I was 4 years old with my family in the early 80s from Istanbul, the bustling metropolis of Istanbul, to the bustling metropolis of Caledon. So I know very well, at least through my parents, I was young, I was only 4, but I know very well the journey that you're on and the struggles that you face, because I lived it with my parents, and it was the early 80s. They came in the dead of winter to Caledon in the middle of a very difficult recession. So my dad always told me stories of handing 20, 30 resumes out, the same experience for my mother, and they made it in the end. And they helped me make it as well as a journalist. So I'm really excited to be here for a second year to help you on your journey. And we've got 5 great panelists to tell you some of their success stories, some of their mistakes. We were speaking earlier that there's no one blueprint to success, but we hope we can give you some of the tools to avoid some of the pitfalls early on, so you can become successful and reach your goals here in Canada as quickly as possible. So thank you again for being here. I just want to have each of our panelists, thank you for being here first of all, just give your name and tell us just briefly what you do and how long you've been in Canada. And we'll just go through the line and then I'll jump into my questions. Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Patrick Bizindavi. I'm from a country called Burundi, Central Africa. I've been in Canada, it's gonna be 12 years this year. And what I do now on my own business, after working many years in welcoming newcomers to Toronto speak French.
That's great. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Rehan. I'm originally from Pakistan, and I think I'm on travel because I left Pakistan, then I went to Germany to do my master's, then I went to England, and then I came to Canada, and what God knows where I go from here. So I am an electrical electronics engineer by profession. I came to Canada last year, so it is not yet 1 year complete. I came in the month of April, and I work for a company named Cogeco Data Services here in Toronto.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Satish Thakur. I'm a chartered accountant from India and a CGA from Ontario. Came here back in 1996, almost 18 years, and when I came this morning in this room, and it's just a flashback, because I'm one of you who came 18 years ago. Currently, I run a very boutique business and financial consulting firm called Excelsior Financial Group, and I'm also the immediate past president of Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce. Good to be here.
Morning, everyone. Morning, everyone. My name is Stefan Surdu. I'm an IEP. I came to Canada 13 years ago and didn't speak a word of English. Hopefully, you can understand me. I work for Enbridge Gas Distribution. Right now, I'm an engineering manager.
Hi everyone, my name is Diane. I immigrated to Canada in '97, so that would make it 17 years for me. I am a physician at Sick Kids, but unfortunately I cannot be part of the film. I have to probably just be an assist in the Dr. Cabby film that they're going to come out with. But yes, I'm very glad to be here, and I wish during my time there was a venue like this for me to have made the process of getting into the medical career probably better or easier. Thank you.
So Diane, while you have the mic in your hand, I'll just start with you because your story, as we saw in the film excerpt as well, in terms of the medical profession, is probably, I think, one of the stories we hear the most. And there are still problems, even after all these years of talking about it. Your journey has been very long, from when you were ready to become a resident in the Philippines to now being a resident. You know, we're talking about decades. So what's the best decision you think you made after coming to Canada to stay on that course? Because that's perseverance that a lot of people might not have.
Yes, my circumstance when I came to Canada was because I got married. So I had no plans of leaving the country because I was very idealistic. But when I came here, and because of marriage, there were difficulties personal. But also I got pregnant, and the pregnancy was difficult. So it was this whole slew of things that it took me 8 years to get back on track. But the thing is, I had made the decision back then, even when we thought, okay, I'm going to stay home and take care of the kids. But the time will come when I'm going to review and I'm going to get in there. So it took me 8 years, but it paid off. It's hard work, but we just got to be focused.
So was the best decision you made then to stick with it?
The best decision for me was to accept my personal situation, but still keep my dream. So that was, I guess, the best decision I made. Like, it's only in the back burner. I'm not forgetting it.
And you also did several specific things to stay in the field, though, right? Looking at your bio, just tell us quickly a couple of the things that you did to stay.
The background to that is I almost got crazy staying at home. So I told my husband, let me work in the factory, which is, I think, very common to us. But he said, if you can find yourself something in the medical field, then I will let you go. So I did work as a secretary to a urologist, and I didn't do very well, unfortunately. And I worked as a transcriptionist, a medical transcriptionist of the pediatrician of my children. So she was very kind and gave me something to do. The third one, which I landed in, was being a unit secretary in Markham-Stillville Hospital in the two-center department, which is Childbirth and Children's Center. So I was in the area of pediatrics, which was my specialty in the Philippines.
And Stefan, what's the best decision you made, you think, after moving here to get to your goal?
I think the best decision was to come here, first of all. And setting a goal and stick with a goal and be consistent and put all the efforts in to achieve the goal.
Yeah. And
it takes a lot of effort.
For sure, and to be from not speaking a word of English to 13 years later being at a company like Enbridge, you must have done something right. So congratulations.
Yeah,
a few things
of
right.
effort. Yeah, thank you.
And so what was the best decision you made?
I am an accidental immigrant. I actually had my thriving practice as a chartered accountant back home in New Delhi. And one of my friend's uncle came visiting us in New Delhi. He stayed with us, and every day the dinner table talks were all about Canada. So two of our group friend, we thought, okay, let's go to Canada and explore. So initially I came here that I'll stay for a few years, get some international exposure, and then go back. But I did not go back. I could not go back because the beauty of and the charm of Canada that keeps you here. I moved in 1996. I wouldn't say the journey was very easy, a lot of struggle, But I think that struggle builds your own character. You appreciate the value of struggle, sharing the success, how to come to the terms of the failure. And I think these are the lifelong lessons that stays with you forever. So that's how we started.
That's great. And Rehan, you said just not even just a year, but you're already working in the field that you wanted to work in. Do you think that's a function of a decision you made, or the fact that we've come a long way since 15, even 10 years ago here, or a combination maybe of both?
Definitely, combination played a great role in getting this thing. Maybe luck also plays a very important role in every aspect of our life. I happen to be an IT professional, and even people in the hall can see this thing, that there are lots of IT jobs out there. So for IT professionals, it's sometimes easy, sometimes it might not be easy, but for me it was kind of because of my broad experience, international experience and qualification. I found it relatively easy to get the job, but again, when I came here, the right decision that I made was, initially when I was applying for jobs, like just sending my CV, and I was just thinking that I'm a highly educated person. I have worked with German Telecom and for 7-6 years, and so everything is good in shape, and I will just go and take the Canada. But that was not the case. I was just sending my CVs and resumes, and I was not getting any response. And then one of my friends happened to give me this suggestion to go and seek a professional help with employment services. And I said, I actually do not need it. My resume looks good and everything is fine. But that was not the case, really. Even after spending so many years in an advanced country, doing all the things, when I went there, they helped me out. So I would actually say and recommend all the new immigrants who came here, especially the young ones, to go to Welcome Canada or other employment agencies, get their resumes in shape, get ready for the interviews. These things are really, they do matter. And that was really, I sent around 40 applications before going through those sessions. And after that, I sent 5 applications. I got 3 interviews on all 3 jobs.
Wow.
So that was the difference.
And that's the interesting thing. There are all these free services for new Canadians. A lot of you know about them, but I think a lot of people just get that bag when you come through customs as a new immigrant and then forget about all the things in it. So it's really, those services are out there for you for free, and I've had family that benefited. That's a pretty tangible take home. So thank you for that. And Patrick, what about you? What do you think the best decision you made was?
For me, just being naive. It helped me a lot because I remember saying to the first people I met here when I came, I told them, if I don't work in a radio station in Toronto, I will never work in Canada. That was like bold but naive. And I'm glad I didn't listen to other people, because when I start making the calls, when I start talking to friends, they would say, you crazy, you will never do it. There was no way. And then when I started making the calls and asking me if I had a Canadian experience, 2 months in the country, and if I had a Canadian degree in communication, I had none of those. And my friends who were telling me, go and find a job in factory. That's how we do it. But 6 months later, I was the project manager of the first French-Canadian radio station in Toronto, 6 months in the country. So if I had listened to all those people and all the facts about Canadian experience and not listened to my heart, I don't think I would have got the job that I wanted. And working in a radio station has been a passion of mine for many years. So I got the first job in a radio station with no Canadian experience, with no Canadian degree, and I worked there for many years. So just being naive and not listening to my heart.
Patrick, you brought up that phrase, Canadian experience, which is the bane of any new immigrant's existence. So if I could just ask all of you, or whoever wants to jump in, what's the key to getting that Canadian experience or getting over that hump, if you can let me know? Yeah, go ahead.
If I can start. I think for me, the key has been volunteering. The first 3 months, I just, and networking. Because I met a person that I didn't even know on Yonge Street, and I asked him if he knew any radio station or TV station, anything. and he mentioned about this radio station. They were looking for volunteers, so I went there, just show up and then and say, hey, I have time. I can help. So they said, yeah. I said, can I come and visit your radio station? So I went there and visit, and I asked for the programs, what kind of shows they had. So on the sheet I saw there was sport news, and back home I was doing sport news, and I said, hey, can I come and help for free? You don't have to pay me. And the guy said, okay, here's the phone number of the guy who does the show. I called the guy. And I say, hey, my name is Patrick, I'm from Burundi, I just came here, I would like to help you during the show. And the guy on the phone said, oh my God, I'm from Burundi too.
Jackpot.
So come, I'm doing a show on Saturday, come and help.
Yeah.
So on Saturday I showed up at 9 o'clock and the show was at 11, I was so excited. And the guy at the radio station said, I have bad news. The guy who does the show, he won't show up today. Family emergency. Do you think you can do the show? Wow. And I say, hey, now that you insist, yes. So I end up being live on the radio, 11 o'clock. I even talk about hockey. I had no idea what I was talking about. But at the end of the show, I said to the guy, can I come back tomorrow? And he said, yes. Then I came tomorrow, and the next day. 3 months later, I got hired. No resume, no interview. So volunteering is the key.
And actually, if you're not aware, if you just Google Volunteer Canada, there's an entire list of different fields where you can volunteer. It could be a field related to yours, and they can match you up with jobs. So just Google Volunteer Canada. Anybody else have experiences with volunteering?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with what you just said it. I want to share my story as well. So when I came here back in June 1996, 6 months, you keep on sending your resume, but you're overqualified, no Canadian experience. That's it. Two unique key buzzword you will always hear. So one of the prospective employer, as I will commend Bobby what he gave this morning on a keynote address, that knowing the niche which is in you and where is the gap, and then you filling that gap. So one of the prospective employer I was talking to, he said, I have no position right now, but I might have after 3 months. So I said, okay, then will you hire me 3 months as a volunteer? I'll work anything for you, and when you have the job, then offer me. So I started working, and he agreed to. I started working on the very first day when I finished my work, and he offered me $1,500 per month job, same day. So I think finding a gap anywhere you go to work, see how you can bring and add value to that organization. Your value will be created automatically. So you have to bring the value to the other person, then you will get your value right away. That's my experience.
Great advice.
I would agree with the two other gentlemen that volunteering probably would be the best way to get in there. But there is a little twist in the medical field because a lot of us want to volunteer in the big hospitals. And there is like a whole slew of people who want to volunteer there. So you definitely can still go into their website and put your name in there as a volunteer. But I would suggest that if you find someone from your own ethnic culture who is a physician, and I'm sure there would be at least one, and talk to them and see if you can observe in their clinic or maybe shadow them. Because that is the first step in understanding how it is in the medical field, the healthcare system, what is important in their ethics. And even just a person who can recommend you later on. Because they can say, yes, I have worked with this person and there is no professional issue with this person. Because they may not be able to talk about your medical skills, but it definitely helps to have someone say, yes, I've seen this person. So there's a little tweaking with the medical profession.
That's great advice. And Rabbi, what?
Again, I will share just my experience with my background from the IT. The good thing about IT, I mean, definitely medical and all those other professions have their other limitations. With the IT, I mean, A Java program coding would work similar way in minus 35 degrees centigrade as well as in plus whatever you have in Canada here. So, and the thing is that, so that is one thing. So once you, where do you actually hear this thing, no Canadian experience? You do not, because the HR are so busy, they never send any reply for rejection, or rarely. So you get this thing in the interview, meaning that your resume was capable enough getting you into the interview. Now again from the IT background, I'm just for this sector, when you are in there on that chair facing the prospect employer and he is telling you about this no Canadian experience. So definitely he is not, or most of the time he is not pointing to that electronic hardware, because it will perform the same way. Your coding, your logics, everything is same, doesn't matter where you are. So mostly what I have seen in some of the interviews that I had and my colleagues, those who are going through this process, is that they are going and trying to see how good you are in your soft skills, how good you will work in their team. So always prepare well before the interview, see what kind of a company it is, if it is an international company or a local company, what kind of profile they have, prepare yourself accordingly so that those soft skill questions, those behavioral questions, you answer them like you just nail it there and then. And then you, most of the time when you do this homework correctly, with no Canadian experience, you can actually overcome the argument with your argument, because you are actually facing them and they are saying no Canadian experience. You say, for what? At least if you, I'm again for the IT sector. So,
So you're all very successful people with great advice, but no one becomes successful without making their share of mistakes, big and small. So I just wanted to go down the line as well. Maybe Stefan, we can start with you. What mistake you made that you would like to maybe tell people about so they don't make the same one, but it may have helped you in the long run?
Yeah. So I wasn't probably as proactive to start with. You know, I was sending resumes to companies that I wanted to work for, and I wasn't getting the calls. But I was very selective in what companies I was targeting. And it came a point where I said, I gotta go work and I gotta, pay the bills. And if I can tell a little bit of a story here, my first job was one of the survivor jobs. So it was a car dealership. And the beauty about the job was that I had a chance to be in contact with a lot of people. So not knowing English very well, I had kind of a script. My job was to drive the car owners to their homes or offices back when they drop off the cars, after they drop off the cars. And I had my script, and I said, it was in the middle of the winter. So I said, it's kind of cold here. And, trying to get into the conversation, I had my script. You see, I am a mechanical engineer. I have a master's degree. Do you know anybody who might have a job for me? And that was, conversations. I was driving probably 5 clients a day, so it was months. And one day, one gentleman started asking me questions. So, what do you exactly know? What did you do in the past? And that gentleman proved to be one fine gentleman who owns one of the biggest consulting companies in Toronto. And on the way back to his office, about 10-15 minutes, I kind of had my interview. Yeah. And a few days later, the gentleman called me back and say, do you want to come over? We're going to have a more detailed discussion. And that's how I got my first job in the field.
So what you perceived as a mistake in the beginning, or not being proactive enough, really morphed into a great part of the story.
It led to becoming more proactive, because you don't have a choice at some point. You have to be proactive. You have to try to establish those contacts. It's very important to get there, to network, and have those discussions.
Patrick, what about you? Did you make any mistakes along the way?
If I could talk about my mistakes, you will stay here for a whole week. I think the first job I got at a radio station boosted my confidence.
Sure.
And I thought I was Superman. And I thought I could do anything. And I wanted to do too big, too soon. And after 2 years at the radio station, I decided to quit my job. Because my dream has been to become a professional speaker, to inspire people, go out and inspire people. And I wanted to do right then, with no network, with with no even savings, just to, I can quit my job and create my own business and become successful. I even told my friends I'll be a millionaire in 3 years. It's been 12 years, I'm still waiting, So it was too big, too soon, and without knowing the culture, without knowing, having enough network, people that I knew, even people who are in the field of doing, So it took me a while, after 9 months, of course, I owe so many people money because and if I didn't owe you, it's because I didn't know you. So after 9 months trying hard, and so I decided to go back to work, and then I worked for 7 years, but now I invest all my money, all of it, into personal development. So try to see why I didn't succeed in the first place. But in the meantime, I have a huge network of people that I help, or people who help me, that after 7 years, then I was ready to make the jump again. So since 2011, I work for myself, and what I do this. I speak in front of people, new immigrants, and see some faces that I have, I know already. So that's what I do now. It's my passion, and with all the mistakes came experience, because I believe experience comes from making mistakes, and I made tons of them. I'm still making mistakes right now, but I made so many of them that I can look in the eyes of newcomers and I say, hey, do this, don't do this.
Yeah. That's the key too, being okay with making the mistakes, right? Not being afraid to make them. We talked a little bit about Volunteer Canada and employment services as well. Just tell me, any of you, which resources you wish you had known about when you first started, or that are now in place that weren't before, that you want to make sure they know about? Go ahead.
I think if we compare almost two decades earlier than today, we are in very fast track right now. We are on highway, not on the local roads. Because the technological advancement which has taken place in last 2 decades makes your journey very easy and faster and quicker. If you're thinking of migrating to Canada now, there are so many online courses available. You can start building up your network well in advance, and you can start marketing yourself, which was not there if we compare ourselves when particularly I migrated almost 2 decades ago. So I think first and foremost, joining your own professional network, which is very, very important and key. Upgrading yourself, getting the local qualification is very important and very, very vital in your success in Canada. And sooner you get it, the more chances you have to succeed in your career journey. And apart from that, joining that peer network, professional network group, as well as social and cultural network group. You have to create your own unique social equity, which is separate and apart from your professional equity. So community service, volunteerism, and joining various social and cultural groups, which is very important.
For the medical field, I wish I just learned about this Task Force Ontario, the task force, and they have the Access Center who can actually help people in not just medicine, but the allied health services. So they will be able to help you assess maybe what you need, where are you, what you need to bridge, or even say, maybe in your circumstance and in what you're looking for, maybe you want an alternative career. So I think that was not available for me. I did my research on my own. I went to the Ontario IMG program, and which is still existing, but I think if you want help in a more holistic way, especially for those in the health sector, it's more difficult for us to get in. And the insight, the help, the resources that are available there, I find are very helpful.
Well, so we're going to open things up to a few questions if we have time, or do we not have time? Sure, we can ask questions or not? We can today. Okay. So we're going to, you'll be able to access the panelists afterwards, because we want you to be able to go to the other events. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you. I really appreciate it. You've inspired me, and I've been here my whole life. I hope they've inspired you as well and given you information. Again, you can see some of this tonight. Actually, maybe see yourselves on CBC News Toronto starting at 5. You can catch me every Saturday and Sunday at 6 and 11 on Sundays. And we also have a CBC booth just in the other room. There's a little red carpet there. You can take pictures, but also they can help answer some questions you might have too if you're interested in the field of media. But we'd love to see you. So thank you for having me. It was a great discussion.
Thank you, Neil, and thank you to the panelists. Thank you so much. Just want to take this opportunity to say thanks to you. Thanks to the sponsors and contributors. Thanks to Selma for her leadership. I want to say thanks to a bunch of people here today, and before we move on to the marketplace, it's really important that we do that, and then to get back in time because we started a little bit late today. So thank you to the advisory committee for working together with the PCPI to put this together. The volunteers, without you, it's not possible. And you're here today, you'll be here for the entire day today. They wear these beautiful sashes. You can talk to them because they have so much information. The event planner, thank you for putting this event together. And the presenters, we appreciate you for being here and presenting to us. The PCPI staff, you work very hard, diligently, day to day. This conference takes a very long time to plan, and we want to make sure that we recognize you for that. And to NTCC for this environment that we have here today, thank you so much and for the rest of the day, what you'll be doing to assist us. Speakers today, Mitzi Hunter, for doing the address. Bobby Shoni, his keynote address was amazing, and I'm sure you learned a lot from that, and we love to hear him again. And for Neil, for running this amazing panel session we just had. Thank you, Nell, for such a great job. The panel, we thank you. And the IEPs, you are the ones that this whole session is all about. So I want to say thank you to you for coming out today, for taking the time, for doing the things that you do every single day. And I know that you will be successful. It's really important for us to do this. Now we have a marketplace. The marketplace is next door in the room 106, 107. Please visit the marketplace. Speak to the people there, speak to each of the booths that we have, make sure that you learn a lot, speak to each other because it's important for us to do that. And once again, give yourself a round of applause and thank you very much. After the marketplace, we'll be having the sector hubs. Now in each of, look at your brochures and you'll see the times of the sector hubs. Make sure you visit the sector hubs and speak to the panelists. Thank you very much. Take care.